I'm sitting there having a Coors Light, walking in between these motorhomes, and I get over there and I see Steve Conaway showing the 2-hour house, and I'm going, play that again, and he plays it again. I said, man, that could be one of the best leadership books of all time. I mean, he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you tell the story and I'll put all the business principles in it. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, teamwork, efficiency, organization, time management, inspiration. You have to have a belief it could be done. I was just going on and on. I said,
that's key.
You
right
tell
there.
the story and how that happened. And Brian had shared with us, how he got the first idea. So really to tape it off. So Brian becomes the chairman of the president of the Tyler, Texas Builders Association, and he was looking for a way to increase the association's membership. Sometimes a simple idea has the ability to make a real difference. The association's membership grew that year, but his idea to get you guys to work together ended up breaking a world's record. And he saw a news story about a house in California
San Diego.
that was built in 3 hours, 44 minutes, 59 seconds. And the more he looked at the project, the more he figured he could do it in less time. So tell me, when he came back, when did you get involved with Brian Conaway, and when he told you what he was going to do, what did you think going through your head? And if you don't mind, the same thing. So tell me your story, just kind of the way you see it.
You want me to go first?
You go right ahead.
Okay. I heard that and I thought, boom, you're not going to do that. And it was a home builder thing, and it was Brian's thing. And he was determined to do that. And I wouldn't say no. I was interested and intrigued. But from the start of that thing, through what was looked back on as kind of a dismal, dry run at it, I thought, it's going to be difficult. But Ryan was undaunted. In fact, I said to him that day, I said, Brian, man, you want the last thing these guys remember today is a little bit of a party atmosphere, not defeat. And that was what it turned into. But Brian never gave up his dream right there, and that's the key. Don't give up. Persevere, and he did. And good leadership and regrouping resulted in what took place later. So, commendable.
Totally.
Good. Yeah. And
Totally.
what part did you play, and when did you get involved? When you went, hey, that guy's nuts, or can it be possible? Think about
it. When he came into the meeting, he's like, we're going to beat a world's record. I'm like, all right. We're going to beat a world's record. I had no idea what he was talking about. He starts talking, telling us about it, and I'm like, yeah, we can do that. So a little different than you, but I wasn't a builder. So I wasn't even thinking about a couple of meetings. I thought, this is easy. We can do this. And as the year went on and the seconds, and we had to get this time down, and especially after that practice, it was like, oh, that wasn't, ow, that hurt. But at the same time, it was like, yeah, but we did it. And how we shaved all those hours off, because there was no way we were even going to touch 2 hours, much less, a world's record. And the charts and the things I learned about being a builder were learned there. I mean, every aspect of the house, we had meetings with those people, the framers, the concrete guys. Oh my gosh, they had a big job to do just to make it dry fast enough.
Plasticizer.
Whatever they used, I don't even remember, but it was amazing. And I knew my little part, running in there with some granite. And I did not lift it. I just had my guys. We already had it cut, so we just ran in there with it. But the amazing amount of team spirit in companies that we were competitors. And we all donated to the same cause. We gave our time. We gave every bit of emotion. I remember being a cheerleader the last day because that's all I could do at that point. is rah-rah, running around, and, I had my tool belt on. I did not use it, but I had one, and we all had to wear little hard hats, and it was just, let's say, a miracle, because it shouldn't have been able to be done, but then there you have it.
What's weird is that it goes to show that the human spirit is alive and well when you all work together for something bigger than yourselves.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about a 2,300 square foot house exceeding code in less than 3 hours. I mean, imagine all the lumber and all the wiring and all the fixtures and all the building materials that they use building the house that you live in today. Every sheet of wall boards, every drop of paint, sitting on an empty lot.
This was not a
waiting
tiny
on a construction
house.
crew to arrive, then
Real house.
expecting to return to that empty lot after playing 18 holes of golf to your brand new house, complete with landscaping. That's pretty freaking unbelievable. So, what the part you played, and you were talking about the practice house. I mean, some people look at failure and just quit. But some people look at failure as a learning experience.
Yeah.
So tell me,
Practice is
just kind of
practice.
went you through it, and just talk about what you went through, what was going through your head, and what you recollect at that time.
Well, we reflected on it and had meetings, and again, I commend the leadership right there, because people internalized the goal and really went to work trying to figure out how to reform the failure and the process, and it became a matter of personal pride. Mm-hmm. Everybody kind of came behind the original goal that Brian had, and collectively figured it out. And there was only one practice. The next time was for keeps. Mm-hmm. And it, again, that personal pride, it went through every person there, and they performed wonderful.
As you watched everybody stepped up, I mean, I just imagine, I wasn't in those meetings, but I could just imagine every leader around the meeting that once everybody knew what they had the responsibility, nobody wanted to fail their part.
No, that's true. And,
Yes.
The compartmentalization of each item, like a cost breakdown on there, each lieutenant, if you will, given to granite, drywall, framing, these multiple steps, they had their own meetings with their bunch, their crew, their leaders, and their construction guys to an individual. And it became understood what was going to have to be done, and it was astounding.
The charts were down to the seconds. And I just believed we could from the get-go. Blind faith. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. The little engine that could. And you just keep going until and everybody. There wasn't anybody that was a slacker. That event took, 800 people?
It's 579 to be exact. Yeah,
there.
579.
It was, and everybody was there, but they were there for a year. They were there, countless meetings that I never knew about on each group.
Oh, yeah.
Doing their thing, and down to the seconds. This is how many seconds and or minutes, depending on your task, but you had to meet that goal. So practice or know that you're that good that you can do it in that many seconds, or how many guys is it going to take? There was a few women on the actual doing. I can't remember what they were doing. Maybe they were cutting. I remember some girl on a saw.
Yeah, you're talking
Trim
about
carpenter.
not only the cement drying in 22 minutes and then putting the walls in, and you got the roof that goes on this
That's right.
deal spun around and had to land. That's like amazing.
Well, it fit.
And then
It fit.
and then go
They
right
nailed
on
it
to
in,
it.
or whatever they did.
And of course, in this, they had to have the
Some
wiring,
magnets.
the AC vac, and all installed. And to me, that's like It's amazing, and it's so we're talking about that. We're talking about the kitchen cabinets, the bathroom fixtures, the heating cooling system, interior doors and
People
baseboards.
were building all for 4 lots, 6 lots around the house. I don't even know how. Yeah.
It was fun to watch wall sections complete. Walk across the grounds on the way to a foundation that was poured a few minutes before and set in place.
No builder's ever seen that, ever.
So
No, and you know, to motivate hundreds of volunteers to be part of an impossible project.
For free. Everyone
for no cost.
donated everything.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Now, one thing is a part of this is that, okay, these people are doing this every day. So they didn't have to figure out what to do. They just needed to figure out exactly what the sequence and order was to do what they do.
In the time
they did
allotted
it.
for them.
In their
That's right.
spare time.
Yeah, because in their spare, because I think Chris earlier was saying that they gave him 10 minutes to put the garage door in. He said, "There's no way we can do it." Next thing you know, they figured out a way to do it in 3
They did
minutes.
it.
I mean,
They figured it out. Yeah.
it's pretty amazing to lay all that out. I mean, it's kind of like, from that event, how did that affect your business? If you're looking back over the 20 years, what did it affect you personally? And then how did it affect your business and the way you do business from then?
That's a good question. You know, I'm normally half full glass guy. And I was kind of pessimistic when I heard the time frame. I thought, oh, man, okay, because I'd done it a while. But even after the first dry run, I saw, okay, there's potential. Now, even before that first meeting, we met, and I asked Brian, I said, look, this drywall thing I inherited, I didn't pick that. My nature. I didn't
Volunteer.
pick that, okay? I was given that. And I said, what if we use this, or what if we use that? I'm trying to get it away from watching mud dry. But we just got it to dry quicker. And Brian said, no, we need drywall. And to your question, when you have a goal, it's worthy, you got to figure a way. We have problems all the time.
Yeah.
With what we do, there are going to be problems. There are human nature problems, and there are problems with materials. Our materials are changing all the time. And that was a really good exercise for anyone's business, like you say.
Mm-hmm.
Figure a way to make it work and be successful no matter. Good exercise in it.
It's on the business side, and then personally, what did it do for you personally?
I think just observing the leadership and the team effort. I'm pretty rugged as an individual. You know, all those people had to work together, and that's important. Well, I tell you, there's a lot of camaraderie.
Throw that over to Jose.
Between competitors. Cherie and I are excellent friends,
Yes, we are.
and we're competitors, but
Not really.
yeah. So
He's built hundreds of homes.
in a sense, we're still competitors.
Yeah.
If you have a problem, you call.
I could.
I'll help.
Yes.
A lot of builders are that way, and that's an invitation, from me. So that part was easy.
Yeah.
Wasn't difficult.
Very easy.
And it seems like this whole community operates out of faith, and it's amazing where people work together and want to work together, especially in Tyler. I think we're in the best place in the world, personally.
I
but-
do too.
So go ahead.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Well,
Born-
we're Bible Belt. We're Christian based.
yes.
Yep.
That's
No
what
doubt
you
about
do.
it.
And we are saved a couple times.
Amen.
But that's what makes us stronger. And we had problems, but we came up with solutions. And that's one of the biggest things I learned is I was barely 8 years in the industry. And so I watched these guys that have done much more than I had done long before me, because the older Conaway was still hanging out, and some of the other builders, and they were teaching. They were a part of it, even though they had kind of handed it down to their sons. Joe Carlisle. There was some kings of the industry that definitely didn't just let us flounder. They came by and probably put their 2-3 cents in, but we got to watch the best, and that's all I ever wanted to do is whatever I'm doing, which is different than anybody else does, and keeping the same phone number because you have a solution. If the lady thinks you did the wrong paint color, paint the room again. I don't know, show her the can, and just take care of little things that happen, because solution's everything. You don't have to walk away, have a lawsuit. That just doesn't exist in my world. It's get it done, however you got to get it done, and move on, because Tyler is itty bitty, and you're as good as your last job. I don't
That's
care
right.
if, you built whatever, half of the town. You better do your last job the right way. So it's something that's ingrained and learned, and you watch the other people that are good in your industry and the Builders Association. They made me who I was and am. They gave me credibility, and that was a big deal. It was a very big deal. And so this gave us all a lot of credibility. There's a lot of people in this town that have no idea we did this.
No, it amazes me. And the magic behind, we're talking about, like I said, kitchen cabinets, floors, ceilings, shingle in the roof, landscaping, the fence,
They
the
rolled out
doorbell,
monster grass.
and
right.
carpet. I mean, you're talking about all. To me, it's amazing, and people don't see the magic behind it. But there is a human. There's a faith and love there to believe in each other, and I think that's missing. What about the meetings? When you think about meetings, what were the meetings like, and what would you recommend meetings to be, and what did you learn from that, or if anything?
Oh, wow. There was a billion of them, meetings.
Structure. How did you have meetings with your teams?
The meetings were really less about structure. The meetings were how to. In other words, I remember Brad Root and I discussing that roof thing and what to do to get the roof on there. And so there's many different discussions that went on that had a context other than what a lieutenant was supposed to be doing. So if there were ideas, they came to the top while this thing simmered. And the feeding off of any insignificant idea that came to the surface, they were discussed and incorporated or not, but it's just part of the process.
I do believe that the reason why I'm such a big 2 Hour House fan is I believe every last one of those volunteers, it said something for their individual accomplishment.
Absolutely.
And how they look at the future,
It did.
And I think it does that to each and every one of the people
That
was
can
involved.
do.
Yeah.
You can do it, even if people think there is no way, or even some of us in the beginning thinking that this is going to be something, and then it literally happened, but not without a lot of team, a lot of meetings, a lot of planning. I just remember those graphs he had with how long each little thing, each thing took. And I was like, that is pure planning. If we could just do those things, it adds up to the 2 Hour House, and
Yeah.
everybody did their part.
So, the Home Builders Association has a parade of homes, like many other areas. So that's kind of a practice in that. I will say I've never been late finishing a home for the parade. And I'm not one of the builders that have done scores of them. I think I did 8 or so, something like that, and that's it. don't want to do another. But
2.
probably, probably so in the future. I don't know, but that's practice. And again, the one noteworthy factor in this thing is there was only one practice, and the second was for keeps. And that says a lot too, because you usually practice, if you want to learn to play the violin, you're going to practice every day.
Wasn't that a 13, 14-hour day
Well,
on that first? It was a long day.
It was a long day.
It was not 2 hours.
Well, you had 2 practice homes. One, the cement didn't even get kicked off because
Well, yeah, and I'm really talking about that first one that first was a first event, and there was only one session like that before it was ready to go, and
We learned a lot,
it did.
especially
So
the concrete.
Well, you know, it's funny about that. After talking, when you think about all those principles that has to happen to work together like that, communication is the key
Sure.
overriding factor. And so even with this, people sometimes say that when we communicate, it's what we say, but it actually was the flags. It was the colors of everybody being in and out. I mean, there's other different
did
ways.
have colors,
So so it's not just communicating what we say. Sometimes, you know, there's other forms of communication.
well, sure.
You know,
You got to communicate with a crane, up or down, and
Yeah.
can't use your voice.
We all had walkie-talkies and
Well, there were a lot of things like that.
You damn
but-
sure didn't
Something
have
like
cell
that.
phones, that's for sure.
no cell phones.
No, that's so we're looking at the planning aspect.
Wait, we didn't have cell phones then?
You had those flip phones.
It was a long time
It
ago.
was, but
They were hanging, on the little belt thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and you know, if you were going to talk about the next generation and generation after that, for what you took away from this experience, what would you share?
Wow.
It's a big one. If you're ready for it, just jump in there.
Mm-hmm.
What would you share about this project that really is important to you personally?
I think it's learning from others, and you got to listen. You just, because you don't know everything. You wish you did, but you don't. God love you. And there's so many people around you that can input, and you're going to be a better person because of it. But you got to be willing to listen and learn stuff.
You know, somebody had shared earlier that, you know, we all have our processes, and our processes guarantees that the job gets done. But can the way we do it be done smarter, better, faster? You know,
That's
of
true.
course,
And-
if you're open.
And
Yeah.
learning is so necessary as part of it. But the leadership, we can't do what we do without good, proper leadership and then coordination. So take those two away, wouldn't happen.
There was some big guys that filled big shoes and women that helped, and it took the village, but there was some big leaders in that village that did an enormous amount of work that they weren't getting paid for. It was all about the thing, making it. When we sold that, every dime of that money went into 5 or so or 6, I can't remember, nonprofits, and that's just something. That's a big something thing.
I can tell you, it's a big deal and try to inspire 579 volunteers
big
to be
deal.
part
Yeah.
of a big game, because that's
Sure.
a big game.
They were up for it.
Yeah, that's a
That
pretty.
day, everybody was like,
You know, I have seen where people put on their resumes, truckers, I get feedback that they put, I drove for the 2-hour house. Was involved in
Really?
the 2-hour
Yeah.
house on their resumes. I mean,
I
so
still
it's
have both my T-shirts.
it's a
I've got
big
the
deal.
T-shirts, the book, and you got your red hard hat somewhere. It's somewhere.
Probably. I do. I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Any other questions I'm missing? You know, success. I'm about to say, success requires us to refuse to accept our perceived personal and business limitations. And just like with the house, by challenging ourselves daily to how should I say it? We all have an entrapped mind telling us that things can't be done. but we're all destined for remarkable results if we do work together.
That's right.
And it's amazing what we can do. And I think 1 and 1's 11, not 2 if you actually work together, you know?
Yeah.
A 1-1.
That's right. I always say that, 1 and 1 together.
55,
Because,
33 could
yeah.
be 1-1.
Yeah, that's it. No, but I think that we, you know, I don't know where this is going to spin out, but I just do believe from this project that we have an obligation to share it with the next generation on what we feel, found, felt, and what we learned. And whoever's a student, they always say when a student's ready, the teacher appears. You don't know who's ready and who's there to be a teacher, but hopefully we, you know, with all this that we had, we bring this thing back to life so we can
Thank
share it
you.
with others. And I think it's important. It's the magic behind
Thank
the
you.
magic.
We were magic.
Right? I mean, that's it. Is there anything else? I think, you know, I'll close with I appreciate you, and I don't know which way this is going to spin off, but I just know that the common denominator that I have found even today for me personally is how collaboration and teamwork, listening and learning, and being open to new ideas. That's where you have to be. And if you think you know it all, you're done.